Hey everyone, it's Zaid here, back again with a story that's as bewildering as it is heartbreaking. Picture this: the sun is setting over the vibrant city of Austin, Texas, a place where the hum of bicycle chains is as common as the strum of guitars. In this city thrives a community where cyclists are not just athletes, but legends in the making. And among them was a star shining bright, Moriah Mo Wilson, a prodigy on two wheels, whose name was whispered on the wind as the next big thing in gravel and mountain bike racing. But on a fateful day in May 2022, the wheels stopped turning. The community's heartbeat skipped as news broke that Mo Wilson was found lifeless, not on the rugged trails she mastered but in a friend's home, a place where she should have been safe. She was there preparing for a race that she was tipped to dominate, a race she would never start. As we peel back the layers of this story, we find a tangled web of relationships, ambition, and a digital trail that led to an international manhunt. This isn't just a tale of a life cut tragically short. It's a modern-day crime saga that shows how passion can turn perilous, how the tools that connect us can also betray us, and how the quest for justice can span countries and capture the attention of millions. So, buckle up as we embark on this journey together, unraveling the mystery of Mo Wilson's untimely demise. And as we delve into the details, remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to join me on this and many more deep dives into the stories that shock, challenge, and demand our attention. This is more than just a story, it's a quest for truth. Let's get to it. In the heart of Austin, Texas, a city known for its vibrant culture and athletic community, a tragedy unfolded that would leave an indelible mark on the world of competitive cycling. Moriah Mo Wilson, a name synonymous with promise and prowess on the rugged trails, was found lifeless in a friend's home. This wasn't just any home, but a sanctuary for an athlete in town for what was supposed to be her crowning race. As the sun dipped below the horizon on that fateful May evening, Mo's future was stolen in the most violent way imaginable. She was found with gunshot wounds to the head and chest, her body a silent testament to the scream of terror that was her last living act. The prosecutor's opening statements didn't just paint a picture, they etched a narrative into the courtroom's consciousness, with the echoes of those final screams and the fatal shots that followed. But who would want to harm such a rising star? And why? The answers to these questions would lead investigators down a path of digital breadcrumbs, jealousy, and ultimately to a suspect whose actions would spark a global manhunt. As we explore this case, we're reminded of the fragility of life and the shadows that can lurk behind the facade of even the most idyllic setting. Mo Wilson's story is not just a cautionary tale, it's a stark reminder of the depths to which human emotions can plunge. Join me as we unravel the details of this heinous crime. And as we do, remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss a moment of this true crime story, as we seek to understand the darkness that led to the extinguishing of a bright light in the cycling world. In the aftermath of Mo Wilson's tragic death, the spotlight turned to a figure shrouded in controversy, Kaitlin Armstrong. At 35 years old, Armstrong found herself at the center of a legal storm, the kind that could lead to a lifetime behind bars. Charged with the murder of Mo Wilson, she stood before the court, her plea a resounding not guilty, despite the mountain of evidence stacked against her. But who is Kaitlin Armstrong? To the public eye, she was a yoga instructor living a seemingly tranquil life in Austin, Texas. Yet, beneath this serene exterior was a tempest of emotions, a woman caught in a love triangle that investigators believe led to a fatal confrontation. Armstrong wasn't just any suspect. She was intricately linked to the victim through a shared connection, Colin Strickland, a fellow cyclist and Mo's ex-boyfriend, who was also romantically involved with Armstrong. The prosecution painted Armstrong as a woman scorned, driven by a jealousy so potent it turned lethal. They alleged that Armstrong's envy was the catalyst for a meticulously planned crime, suggesting that she used technology to track Wilson's whereabouts on the night of the murder. The defense, however, argued that the evidence was circumstantial at best, pointing to a lack of direct witnesses and a case built on assumptions rather than concrete proof. As Armstrong faces up to 99 years in prison if convicted, the trial unfolds like a modern-day Greek tragedy, a tale of love, jealousy, and the potential for vengeance. The question remains, will the jury find the threads of circumstantial evidence strong enough to tie Armstrong to the crime, or will the defense unravel the prosecution's narrative? Friends, we've seen it in Shakespearean dramas and modern-day soap operas, but the love triangle at the heart of this case is no fiction. It's as real and as devastating as it gets. Mo Wilson, the vibrant and talented cyclist, once shared a romantic connection with Colin Strickland, a name that's well known in the competitive cycling circuits. But as fate would have it, Strickland's heart would find its way to another, Kaitlin Armstrong. This triangle of affection and attention set the stage for what would become a narrative of jealousy and alleged murder. On the surface, it seemed like any other complex romantic entanglement, but the depths of emotion involved were far from ordinary. On the day Mo Wilson was murdered, she and Colin Strickland had spent time together, swimming, an act that, under different circumstances, would have been innocuous. Yet, in the context of what transpired, it was a spark in a powder keg of jealousy. The prosecution suggests that this meeting between Mo and Colin was the catalyst, the event that ignited Armstrong's rage. It's a scenario that's as old as time. Jealousy leading to rage, rage leading to actions that can never be taken back. But here's where the plot thickens. Colin Strickland has not been charged with any crime, leaving Armstrong as the sole accused, the woman who the prosecution claims was driven by a lethal envy. As we peel back the layers of this tragic tale, we're left to ponder the complexities of human relationships and the emotions that drive us. What happens when love turns to obsession? When does jealousy become dangerous? These are the questions that this case forces us to confront. Imagine this, my friends, the plot of a crime thriller unfolding in real life. After the tragic events in Austin, Kaitlin Armstrong vanished, morphing from a yoga instructor into a fugitive on the FBI's radar. What followed was a 43-day manhunt that spanned international borders, a real-life game of cat and mouse that had authorities scrambling and the public watching in disbelief. Armstrong didn't just run. She orchestrated an escape that would make Hollywood scriptwriters envious. She sold her vehicle, the first breadcrumb in a trail that would lead investigators on a wild chase. But she didn't stop there. In a move that's as bold as it is desperate, she assumed her sister's identity, slipping through the cracks and boarding a flight out of the country. But Armstrong's attempt to rewrite her story took an even more drastic turn. She underwent cosmetic surgery, altering her appearance in a bid to sever ties with her past and start afresh under the tropical sun of Costa Rica. There, she sought to reinvent herself as a yoga instructor, a peaceful facade that stood in stark contrast to the turmoil she left behind. This wasn't just a flight from justice. It was a meticulously planned disappearance, a bid for freedom that would ultimately fail. Armstrong's days as a fugitive came to an abrupt end when she was apprehended in a hostel in Santa Teresa, a beach town popular with surfers and sunseekers. As we recount the details of this manhunt, we're left to wonder about the psyche of a person under pressure, the desperation that leads to such drastic measures, and the relentless pursuit of law enforcement across countries and continents. In a world where our lives are increasingly online, it's no surprise that digital evidence would play a starring role in the investigation of Mo Wilson's murder. Prosecutors allege that Kaitlin Armstrong's digital trail was a breadcrumb path leading straight to her involvement in the crime. Armstrong's digital savvy turned against her when investigators discovered she had used a fitness app to track the movements of her romantic rival, Mo Wilson. It was a modern twist to an age-old tale of jealousy and rage. This app, designed to monitor athletic progress, became an unwitting witness to a prelude to murder. But the digital evidence didn't stop there. Armstrong's SUV, a silent participant in this tragedy, was captured by the unblinking eye of surveillance, parked at the very apartment where Wilson was staying. It was a piece of the puzzle that placed Armstrong at the scene, a fact she couldn't easily explain away. The final nail in the coffin of Armstrong's defense may very well have been the shell casings found at the crime scene. These casings weren't just any casings. They matched a gun discovered at Armstrong's home. It was as if the digital and physical worlds had conspired to weave a web of evidence around her. As we sift through the details of this case, we're reminded of the indelible nature of our digital actions. In Armstrong's case, her online activities, intended to be stealthy, became glaring signposts for the authorities. It's a cautionary tale for the digital era, where even the most private of actions can become public in the most unexpected ways. In the next chapter of this story, we'll look at how the defense attempts to counter these digital accusations. Will they manage to cast doubt on the prosecution's narrative, or will the digital breadcrumbs lead to an inevitable conclusion? In the hushed confines of the courtroom, a narrative duel is underway. The trial of Kaitlin Armstrong has become a theater where two opposing tales vie for the spotlight. On one side, the defense portrays Armstrong as a casualty of conjecture, ensnared by evidence that suggests, but does not confirm. They argue that the absence of direct video footage or eyewitnesses to place her at the crime scene leaves room for reasonable doubt, a gap wide enough for the possibility of innocence to slip through. The defense's narrative hinges on the idea that circumstantial evidence, no matter how suggestive, cannot stand in for concrete proof. They suggest that the prosecution's story is a house of cards, built on assumptions and interpretations rather than undeniable facts. It's a classic defense strategy, one that appeals to the jury's sense of fairness and the foundational legal principle that a person is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Contrast this with the prosecution's arsenal, a collection of videos, phone calls, and digital location data that they believe weaves an unbreakable chain of culpability around Armstrong. They present a narrative of a premeditated act, one where Armstrong's movements and communications form a pattern that points inexorably to guilt. The prosecution's story is one of a digital age crime, where the silent witnesses of technology speak volumes. As the trial progresses, the jury is tasked with deciphering fact from fiction, truth from narrative. They must sift through the evidence, weigh the credibility of the digital footprints, and decide which story they believe. It's a battle of narratives, with the highest stakes, justice for Mo Wilson and the fate of Kaitlin Armstrong. The courtroom drama continues to unfold, and with each passing day, the tension mounts. What will the verdict be? Only time will tell. As we await the jury's decision, we're reminded of the power of storytelling and the pivotal role it plays in the pursuit of justice. As the sun sets on another day of testimony and evidence, we step back from the courtroom's procedural pulse to remember what's at the heart of this story. This isn't just a case to be dissected. It's a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the ripples of grief that spread through a community in the wake of violence. The cycling world has lost a shining star in Mo Wilson and her family, a beloved member whose absence leaves an irreplaceable void. As we continue to navigate the complexities of this trial, let's not lose sight of the human cost. The sorrow that grips Mo Wilson's loved ones and the cycling community is a testament to the bonds that tie us together and the collective loss we feel when one of our own is taken from us. In the quest for justice, we find a shared purpose, a hope that in understanding the why, we might find a way to prevent another such tragedy. Before we part ways today, I ask you to join me in honoring Mo's legacy. Hit that like button to show your support for these stories that need to be told. Share this video to spread awareness, and subscribe to stay updated on this case and others like it. Your engagement is more than just numbers. It's a powerful statement that the voices of victims will not be silenced, that their stories will resonate and be remembered. This is Zaid, signing off, but never forgetting. Until next time, take care, and let's keep seeking justice together.